Hello, everyone, and welcome out to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, a podcast where I sit down with some of my friends in the local Columbus, Ohio theater and improv scene and talk a bunch of geeky stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad, but all of it definitely geeky. If you enjoy our program, be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Our official sponsor of the show is Audible. With over 200,000 titles to choose from, you get 30 days of membership for free with one audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month included with your trial. Ad-free premium audio you listen to offline, no interruptions, and you own your library, so you keep the books even if you have to cancel. You also get 30% off in exclusive member-only savings, and it's only $14.95 per month after the trial. And if you have easy exchanges, don't love a book, swap it out for free anytime. They have some really great books available right now, such as Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens, or Owens, I should say, not Owens, Owens, and then Becoming by Michelle Obama. Interested? It's just this easy. Go to audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky, choose your first book free, download the Audible app, and start enjoying your new audiobook. Also, it's time to bring the spooky. Join Marianne and friends in Marianne's Macabre Review, a podcast released every other Tuesday talking all things horror. They cover film, television, books, web series, and even board games. If it's horror related, Marianne is in on it. A new topic every episode. You can subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out Marianne's Macabre Review and all of the programs at ibdpresents.com. All right, in this episode, guys, it's more unique than a normal episode that we do here in that I'm talking to one of the many talented writers of MadLab's Young Writers 2019 program. Founded in 2011, MadLab's Young Writers Short Play Festival is designed to give local high school playwrights a professional theatrical experience. Students submit 10-minute plays, and the best are chosen to be developed and produced. Each student is given the opportunity to attend specialized workshops, collaborate with local and national mentor playwrights during the 6 months they are in the program, and at the end of the program, the plays are performed at MadLab as full-scale short plays. Last time we spoke to Be Human author Kara Fedurek. This go-around, the young writer we are speaking to is Liam Browning, author of The Motel Room. While Kara's short, when you do see it, and you are seeing it, aren't you, is a bit more comical with a nice little edge to it, Liam's definitely is a drama with some humorous moments peppered in. And we're going to talk about that. I hope you will check out the shows. There are 2 nights each with different sets of programming. The performances are Fridays and Saturdays between July 12th to July 27th, 2019, with 2 Sunday matinees at 3 p.m. For more information on tickets and the show itself, please visit MadLab on the web at madlab.net. And I hope you enjoy my chat with Liam Browning, one of the 2019 young writers. I know I did. Will, roll him. All right, everyone. Today with me on the show, I'm super excited. I have Liam with us, and we're going to talk about Young Writers 2019. Also in the background, you may hear his mentor, a.k.a. Wooz, a.k.a. Stephen Woosley. And so if you hear him pipe up or laughing in the background or whatever, or just going, "Dear God, please don't say that," that's definitely him. But we're going to talk about Liam and the work that you've done on Young Writers 2019. And so first off, how did you hear about Young Writers? I guess that's the first thing.
Okay, my director, Carl, he's from he directs at Bradley. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really that close with him, but I know him pretty well. And he was talking about it, and he posted it on Facebook that I should do it and told me a lot about it. So I just put in the short play, not really thinking it would get in or anything. Mm-hmm. And it got accepted, and I was really surprised. And
all right, yeah. Well, so because I'm going to mess up the name, but I know what it is because during the first reading, I actually was one of the characters in it. So that's how I definitely know about this one. But what is your short called, and what is it about?
The Motel Room. It's about a mother and her 2 kids, and they go into a dingy hotel room, and you just find out from there.
Look at you, already did a good job selling it. All right, so I would be remiss to say that it goes down a weirdly, possibly dark path.
Yeah.
Possibly not, but there's some really deep stuff going on in there, even though it's just those 3. I just gotta ask, like, where did that come from? Because it is very good, but like, if you had to tell me a high schooler wrote that, I would not say that at all. That's a compliment to how good it is.
Yeah.
But like, would not call that at all. So how did you come up with that?
I actually watched a short film that I really liked. It was called Drink. It's about a woman and her 2 kids. The message is very different, but I did get the idea off of it. It's about it, like, it's a short film. Mine is not a horror, but
no.
It was really good. I based off like the aesthetic and the characters off that, and some of the dialogue, yes, but like I watched that like 2 years ago, and I kind of just based it off that, and then I realized, oh wait, I got that from that. So
but it drilled somewhere into your psyche that you always were. Now, so have you been writing it that whole time, or no? It was always there, kind of like, hey, and then you're just like, I got to get it out, and this is how I get it out.
Yeah, I wrote it probably like a year later after I watched it, and it was also based off a lot of stuff that has been going on. I'm very like into mysteries, like stuff that goes on in the media, like disappearances and like all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of that kind of junkie.
We're dancing around it, but there is an actual mystery of the short to an extent.
Yeah,
and we're not going to spoil it too heavily, but it is an interesting. Yeah, there is kind of like a subtle mystery underneath all of that of what's going on with the mom and the 2 kids. So yeah, so what? So obviously you like mystery stuff. Are you purely like a horror / documentary guy? Or are you like into like where things inspire you? Like, what do you watch? What do you listen to? That kind of thing.
Well, I like to listen to podcasts about like
true crime.
I like to watch true crime stuff, Jeffrey Dahmer, like those kinds of people. But yeah, like I'm kind of, but like, okay,
it's okay. It really is okay. Like, the artistic director of MadLab, Laura, she loves true crime. And I mean, I'm fascinated by it, but I'm also like wore down by how depressing life can be. So I'm just like, I'm tapped out, man. But no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like to put that into art, and like not a lot of people write about that kind of stuff. And a lot of that stuff happens, and nobody really talks about it. Like, it goes on in the news for maybe like a few seconds, and then nobody talks about it again. And a lot of the short plays at our school were mostly about love, or, like something goofy. And I thought I would write something that was different, that was based off stuff that goes on almost every day.
See, what I'm hearing is all your friends don't want to talk about real stuff. No.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Both are okay, so when I went to broadcast school, for radio and TV, I just remember they're like, always show people the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's really bad, only show it for a second unless it's national news. And that broke my heart, because stuff like, what you're talking about, it only gets touched on for a second, and then no one keeps the conversation really going about it until it's a Netflix special or it's a podcast where they talk about this horrible thing that's happened on it. Yeah, because then I just remember their other big thing was, if you ever get really lucky, you can do a squirrel piece, which ends the show. And I'm like, why is that? Because it's the only happy thing you'll provide people.
Yeah.
that's news. And they would always do quotation. It's very,
that's really sad.
It is really sad, right? So in terms of writing like long term, what other stuff do you want to write?
I've been actually writing a new short play. It's about 2 brothers, and it's about a boy with autism, and the other brother wants to be more closer with him. Mm-hmm. So he decides to take him out of like the facility he was living in and just hang out with him for a day. Oh, wow. So very different from what I wrote before, But I actually my twin brother has autism. He has a lot of problems. He has the mind of like a 6-year-old.
Okay.
So I'm kind of basing it off that, about what my twin brother is like, and I don't know. I just wanted to show that autistic people are people too, and that they're not just handicapped. They're people. They have minds. They're very creative and great people. And I just wanted to write about that.
So I have a friend who is a teacher, and he works with special needs, and he's really good with them. And I kind of suspect he might be, and I'm not going to lie, but I think he might be high functioning with Asperger's. But no, I mean, he lives for those kids, and he always, that's his selling point. Like, so sadly, when Wooz and I grew up, the R word was very much in the lexicon. Like, it's like, quit being stupid. But that sadly got tagged into that. And I just remember up until like even mid-2000s, but he, for the longest time even before that, was like, don't say that word in front of me. Like, even if you say it to him now, he will just don't. He doesn't find it amusing at all, and which is amazing because, he loves those kids. Yeah. Because they are people, and they are, they're just like everybody else. Maybe they're not developing in the same exact speed that everyone else is, but that's very... So has that been challenging as the brother to try to be protective, but also because brothers also fight a lot.
Yeah.
And that can be very, is that challenging in its own way too?
Well, I have a big brother. He's, he doesn't really understand, he's not that close with him as much as I am to Joe, my twin brother. But I don't know. I want to take that as a career and be a special ed teacher when I grow up, or do something like that with kids with disabilities. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do fight with Joe, and it breaks my heart sometimes when I do, because sometimes he can get annoying or do something that makes me mad, and I just go off, and I'm not proud of it, but...
Isn't it weird that when you get frustrated with someone, you might snap, and then you realize what you did, and then you go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm frustrated about this completely different thing, and you just started to annoy me at the same time. Not annoy, but you know what I mean. You started to get you hit something that's on me, not on you. Yeah. And that still carries on to when you're adults, whether it be with your parents or your wife. I know that sometimes I do that sometimes where I'm completely focused on something else mentally, and then and she's just asking a very innocent question, or like today she was getting ready and I was watching a movie. It's a movie. I've seen it before. I will watch it again. It will be there. I can hit pause. And she just was very nice. Is like, I'm going to blow dry my hair now because I have to leave. And I wasn't mad, but I got just like, ugh. And she's just like, seriously, I was trying to be nice, and you're just giving me all that. And I'm just like, first off, I'm not that mad with it, but yeah. So it carries on to even when you're an adult. But after I thought, I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was just very stupid of me, and it's a stupid thing to get upset by. And so yeah, that happens. Yeah. So that's awesome. You're gonna turn that into, now, have you thought about making it like a full length instead of just a short?
I'm thinking about it. I don't, we have short play festivals at our school, and I did have the Motel Room perform in there, which I loved my cast. I loved directing them. It was great. I loved it. I would do it again if I could. All
right. So, and I could be wrong, but did you say that one, it did go well or did not go well, or was that another short you wrote?
There was another performance of it, and the first performance was in my theater class. And there wasn't enough actors. The little kid was played by a 15-year-old boy who had an extremely deep voice, and the other kid just did not want to be in it.
Well, yeah. No offense to that dude, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the guy with the deep voice, he can't help it. He's already, he's going through some other stuff. He has that. That's the least of his problem. But the other kid, he's a jerk. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That really, anyway, continue.
But it wasn't, it was the first performance. It was my first time writing anything, and it was a very, very first draft. And like, I liked writing it. It was great. But then, like, I did rewrites. I made it a lot better. And then I put it into the Bradley Short Play Festival. And it did great. My cast loved being in it. I remember the little kid was played by a senior, and her name is Emily Ewan. She did amazing. I love her. She's leaving. But
seniors do that.
Yeah.
So what grade are you in, by the way, to be clear?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore?
Yeah.
Wow, doing that. Gee-mini criminy.
Yeah, I wrote it in freshman year.
Oh my god. A, I'm feeling old, and B, it's just like, wow, again, guys, this is why you have to go to Young Writers to see it, because do you know what night it's on?
It's on Saturdays.
It's on Saturdays?
I'm also performing.
On Saturdays or Fridays?
Yeah, I'm also performing. I'm in The Twins.
Okay.
I play a little twin brother who is really annoying and is in a grocery store with a lady. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, so here's the great thing. There's like a lot of these stories. That has a twist too.
Yeah.
Really good one. And so you guys need to check it out. But especially yours, it's very deep stuff that a freshman would be talking about, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
So first off, again, I got to say this again. Congratulations on it, because that's awesome. And also congrats on getting cast in Young Writers.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
Well, I feel like, and I could be wrong, and Tay corrected me the other day, but like, I know we never discouraged, but I feel like this year was the first time we actually did a push for, I feel like in more than, oh yeah, please.
Yeah, I mean, we've always, what we don't want them to do is miss their show. Yeah. So we'll cast you, but we want them to be able to watch their show and stuff. We love it if we can get them in, because we do better now than we used to, but I used to end up having to play a teenager. That's how scarce we were on teenagers.
But you're good at it, man.
Well, yeah, I'm good at being.
So it pulls off.
We've done better over the years, and so obviously, these folks are talented beyond just being playwrights.
Oh yeah.
And it's great to have these young folks play young folks. So
yeah,
it's nice. So.
Well, I just remember because I helped Wooz direct last year. Offensive Penalty.
Yeah.
Was that last
2 years?
2 years. Oh geez.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and I just remember like it said all ages are welcome, but like I didn't feel like there was a huge push for it, and I felt like this year there for some reason there was. Yeah.
However, we're getting that call out. We're getting it to people, because we had a great turnout of actors in general, but also young folks. And
one of my friends, Elena, I really pushed her to audition, because I kind of knew that not a lot of kids would be auditioning. Mm-hmm. So I pushed her too. And if she's listening, hi. Yeah, she is in Play It Cool, Jude's.
Okay.
I think she was in the podcast. And yeah, she's so hyped for it. I'm so excited for her. And yeah. Hi, Elena.
Okay, so outside of true crime or anything, is there any music that you listen to when you write that you really get into when you're doing that kind of thing?
I listen to indie music. There is this song that I put in by Ricky Nelson, Lonesome Town. It's like...
Okay, Ricky Nelson as in like Ozzie and Harriet Ricky Nelson.
50s?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first off, interesting choice of note. Like that's... Continue. I'm so sorry. I'm just...
Well, the song is really sad. It's
he writes a few sad songs, actually.
Yeah, it's about, you're very lonely, and that I don't know how to explain it. It just got me, it just reminded me of my play, and there wasn't a lot of songs I could really put in that made me really feel like this was a good song. So there was Lonesome Town, and then, now this might sound weird, but I put in a Post Malone song. Feeling Whitney. It's about a guy. It's like him struggling with drugs, and how it just his struggles with it. And it's not like a rap. It's actually him playing on his guitar.
Oh wow!
So it's very different from a lot of his other songs. But Lonesome Town, it's kind of old timey, and it's just about how lonely you are and the problems with that. And I don't know. You just have to listen to it, because it was good.
So, this is a story my mother told me growing up, when I had Disney Channel growing up, right when it started, back in the day, but they would show old shows, and one of them was the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and they had 3 sons? Dave, Ricky, and Bobby? That sounds right. But Ricky, and the thing was that Ricky was a good singer, and technically, I think Ozzy and Harriet were radio show stars that moved on to TV. And one of the big things were just like, well, our whole family's talented. Because back in vaudeville, you got the whole family involved. Like the Marx Brothers, it was literally all of them were involved. And I think there was and the sister who ended up marrying Jack Benny. Super old data dump that you don't need to know. I'm sorry. But Ricky was a great singer and a songwriter. And so they used the show as a platform for his rock and roll career. And you might have heard those at Traveling Man.
A little bit.
Over the seas. Yeah. And that's really kind of a sad song when you think about it. But, sorry, the story that my mom told me, though, years later, because I would watch them on reruns when nothing else was on. There was a story where she's like, nobody likes Ricky Nelson anymore. So then he wrote a hit song about it, which was Garden Party, where he went to the Madison Square Garden and everyone wanted him to sing all his old hits, like Lonesome Town, Traveling Man, and I think he has like 3 other songs. And he's like, no, I want to do my new stuff too. And they booed him off the stage. And so he wrote a song called Garden Party. And it's like, I went to a garden party. I was with my old friends. And then it pretty much talks about how, it's a great song too. And sadly, he left us too soon. In the classic rock and roll way, though, which is he went down in an airplane. Yeah. It's really a bummer. And it was it right before like the early 80s? It was like 79?
70s,
yeah, it was sad. So that was one of those things. And if you look at a picture of him from back then and look at him, that he almost doesn't look like the same dude. Like he has like the long 70s, like, who was the lead singer of the Eagles?
Glenn Frey.
Yeah. If you ever see a picture of Glenn Frey from the Eagles, he has his hair down. Like, that's what Ricky Nelson looks like. And you're like, not the same dude. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what other songs do you listen to? So there's Lonesome Town. There's the Post Malone song. And what was it called? Chasing Whitney?
Feeling Whitney.
Feeling Whitney. Okay.
And then there's one more. It's We Grew Up at Midnight by the Maccabees.
Okay.
It's
I've heard of them, but I've not heard of them. It's like one of those, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, it's about them growing up and finding themselves. And it doesn't really have to do with the motel room, but I kind of thought like the 2 like siblings, that would be them growing up and finding themselves and, finally realizing what's going on and them growing up.
Man. So because when I write stuff, sometimes I will just have a soundtrack on loop of just multiple things, or I just have it on shuffle and whatever comes up. But every once in a while, I'll hit a song that will really pop in there, and that's all. So now, was that just for these 3, or do you have other songs you listen to just in general when you write?
Yeah, I make playlists. Now, for the play I'm writing, it's called The World We Live In.
Okay.
And there's one song that I put in that is very old, Big Rock Candy Mountain. It's a little...
Wooz is shaking his like, do you know that one? No, I was like, okay. I thought I was like, wow, I don't know that one.
It's actually a nursery rhyme. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's about a hobo, and he's talking about this world with like candy and like everything's great, and I just really like that song, and it's like the song that I want one of the kids to sing. I want the boy to sing, and it's about how he wants his life to be like that. Awesome. And I thought that would be a great...
So is that the next short you're writing?
Yes.
So that's the one with the brothers?
No.
No, it's another one. Sorry.
Well, it's about 2 brothers, but not the motel room. They are totally different.
No, yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. The one that you were writing about with you and your brother in real life, they are based after that. So that will have that song in it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, first, how did you find Ricky Nelson? I'm fascinated by that too.
Well, okay, it's a long story.
We have time.
So, okay, I was watching this show, and it's called The End of the Effing World.
Okay.
And they have a song. It is, I think it's like 2 Ricky Nelson songs, and Lonesome Town was in it. And I really liked it. I thought, oh, well, I like this. And there's a lot of 50s songs in there. Have you heard of that show?
No, I haven't.
It's about a...
Is it a YouTube channel? Is it on FX or...
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Netflix, okay.
It's about a kid who wants to be a serial killer, but, like, he's not, and, like, he's trying to lure this girl. Yeah, but it's actually a comedy. Like, it's a really good comedy.
Wait. Is it a movie or a TV show?
TV show.
It is a TV show. Because I'm starting to... Isn't there like one minor celebrity? Because the kids are mostly unknown, right? But there isn't like one of the parents like a minor celebrity or something like that.
I think so.
I feel like I'm starting to remember like, at one point one of them falls out of a car or something. Or they're looking at someone in it doesn't matter.
But they fall in love. But yeah, it has nothing to do with my show. But there was one song that I really liked, and that was the Ricky Nelson song.
I just remember for the longest time, like my favorite show in the world was Chuck with Zachary Levi before he became Shazam. He did a show called Chuck, and why I liked it was the soundtrack was so eclectic. And the guy Josh Schwartz, who produced the show, he used to be like a record executive. He just got fed up with the music industry. But so he took all his knowledge of new bands that are music that was like deep cuts, and he would throw it onto the show. And some of it you would hear before, like Bon Iver, But
I
some
love
of
that guy.
Yeah. He threw like anytime like Chuck had a scene where he's alone with the girl that he likes, who's one of his handlers, because apparently he gets like supercomputer loaded up into his brain. And they don't have any backup copies, so the government is protecting him like mad. And there's a CIA and an NSI guy, and the CIA agent is the girl Sarah, and he's just madly in love with her. And every time there's a kind of like a will they won't they scene, they always play Bon Iver. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but I didn't know who he was before then. And there's like other weird tracks of like Andrew Bird. I didn't know who he was. Didn't know like he could whistle really well or anything. I didn't know any of that stuff. They were just weird tracks they would throw in there, and I would just eat it up. I don't really feel like there's a show too much nowadays where it's consistently giving me new music to feed off of. So I miss that. But that's actually why I like TV though sometimes, because sometimes you'll hear a song and you're like, that is such a great song. Not only does it fit well, but like I want to listen to it away from the show and disassociate it from the show. Yeah. So was it a cover of Ricky Nelson, or was it the actual Ricky Nelson song?
It was the actual Ricky Nelson song.
Man,
it's actually going to be playing.
For them.
It's going to be playing for like how we have like music that plays before a show.
Yeah, the pre-show music.
Yeah, that's going to be the pre-show music. Yeah, I put that in, and it was the pre-show music for the Short Play Festival at Bradley. But yeah, people loved it. People like my cast. They were very heavily involved. They actually wanted me to rewrite the script and make it a totally different thing because they loved it that much. Like, we should write more stuff to it. Like, we should do all this stuff to it. And actually, I think 3 days before the show, I had some rewrites for MadLab. And the dad, he was just like, hey, I saw that you put in a new, like, mini monologue for the show. I can memorize that. Can I have it? And I was just like, sure, you can use it. And yeah, and it was just like that kind of stuff. Like, people just, they wanted more. They wanted, like, they just loved being in the show. It was just great.
And so you got to direct them doing that too.
Yeah, so. I had an assistant director. Her name's Jackie Jones. She's lovely. I love her. And my cast, I just love directing them because I wanted to be a part as much as possible. And the overall process was great. You saw, saw the show. Yeah. Yeah, how was that?
It was cool. I thought in, some of those notes we talked about, and it was cool to get to see some of the notes we'd already talked about. I knew you'd done the rewrites, so it was cool to see the show evolve because obviously we'd already done the 2 readings. I think we'd already done both readings. Or maybe
I think
we were about to do the second. I can't remember, but either way, it was cool to see it up on its feet, and it made me more confident than ever that this is going to be an awesome show when we do it.
So I guess that's an interesting thing too, because when we did Offensive Penalty, the writer, and sometimes it goes like this. Sometimes the writers are heavily involved with the short. Sometimes they're not. How heavily involved are you with this? So you were talking about the one that they're gearing up for young writers,
right? Well, I saw their performance at Hilliard. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Conley and I went out. Checked it out.
Cool. Yeah. So because that was going to lead me into how involved are you with the young writers portion? Because sometimes, like, we might let you help, but not with mine.
Right.
It's like it's dependent on you. Like, if you want to help with casting or just be there to see how it works.
Yeah, we always encourage the directors, hey, invite the playwright so they can be part of the process. And some are like they want to be right there. Some almost acts as an assistant director. Mm-hmm. But I know one year the guy came to almost every rehearsal and he was rewriting on the fly, which was a lot of fun. And that was a comedy show, Anarchy. And so he and I could just go back and forth like, hey, I got an idea for this. He's like, yeah, let's put it in. And he would come like, hey, I want to add some stuff in. And, it's I think it's a little easier with the comedy and you're biting it up. But I think, to that end, and I may be speaking out of turn for our group, but I think it could be a constantly evolving process. And that's what was cool in seeing Liam's show after he'd already done rewrites, after seeing the first reading, which was cool that we did. Yeah. And then seeing like, okay, because I actually hadn't seen his rewrites, but as I watched, I'm like, oh, that's new, that's different, and the show's already better, for it. So, but to double back around, some playwrights they're just like, I just want to be there and see it. Whether they're busy or they're just like, I don't want to get in the way. Offensive penalty, I think Emily came to one. She was just like, this is awesome. I'll see you at the show. She was.
Because originally during audition, she's like, I want to be heavily involved. Yeah. And then she came to the first rehearsal. After that, she's like, I'll see.
She did help us with casting.
She did.
She did. She cast one of our people, and it turned out fantastic.
It did.
William was an excellent choice.
Yes, he was.
And so it's just it's a time thing and just how much they want to be involved. And we don't want to really. We're not going to pressure them. We definitely want the directors to make it available so they can see more of that process. Yeah,
for them, 100%.
Sometimes the worst thing is to be directed by the playwright. But if the playwrights, I've directed a lot of my shows, and I am not one of those people who think everyone will agree. Not every word I write is gold, so I'm completely fine with changing it. But at the same time, we MadLab in general, we tend to go with, hey, whatever the playwright's written, that's gold. If you want to change it, cool, but you need to contact them and get their okay.
Right.
There might be another reason, or they just might be, nope, you're not touching it. And we deal with new work, so that there is some flexibility, and that is part of the cool part is being able to reach out to the playwright because they're not Shakespeare, they're not dead. Although Shakespeare, you can do whatever you want, I guess, these days. Yeah. But so that process can be ongoing, and I think we've had pretty good experience with most playwrights, whether it's roulette or young writers or whatever, in reaching out. And sometimes they're like, no, I don't want that change. And the one thing we don't want is a director changing something that they haven't talked to the playwright about. Because at the end of the day, especially as a new works theater, we're nothing without these playwrights.
They're the lifeblood.
Yeah, they're exactly. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Nope. And we want to treat them with great respect and their work. So
I just remember same one because I helped you direct. This is the only reason why I keep bringing it up. Offensive penalty, like you are at. You probably know this. He is an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Maybe not. No, maybe not. But no, he is a hardcore Eagles fan, and so it was offensive penalty. So it's a date at a sports thing.
Took place at a football game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I thought she initially said she was thinking hockey, even though she doesn't specify.
Oh, maybe she was. Maybe. You're probably right.
You did email her. Just like, hey, can we make it football? And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
So we made it the Eagles, and then they won the Super Bowl that year. So I gave her credit. I emailed her. I'm like, you made it happen.
Yeah, that's right. So have you been heavily involved with this year for the Motel Room?
For the young writers, I asked if I could assistant direct, and she said, well, no. But you can be there. And I haven't gone to the first rehearsal, mostly because I've been very busy lately with other stuff. But I'm planning on going to the next one. Good. There's also the first rehearsal for the twins is actually on Tuesday, so I'm really excited for that.
That's right, yes, because you're in the twins, and again, great twist on that too. You guys check that, and they're both on the same night, which is Saturday, right?
Yes. Awesome. I'm really happy that's happening because I get to see my show, and I get to be in the show. So the people seeing it are just like, I get to see you perform and see your play. So it's a win-win.
It's like a 1-2 punch.
All in one night.
Yeah. That's how you. Yeah. And the great thing is too is that now, a great thing. It could be a great thing. Are you going to watch from the back, or are you going to go around the front and watch your own short?
Probably gonna go around the front.
Yeah, I think we'll encourage you to go around and watch.
Well, I mean, I don't want you to open the curtain up.
Right.
And just be watching.
No. I mean, we want him to see his play from the audience.
So, of course.
We'll save some seats.
So you just said something or you both did, and it's fascinating because Tay wasn't super forthgiving of the information on this, and you don't have to be either.
Sure.
The seminar, no, what?
Oh yeah, so
retreat or something. You guys,
we try and get playwrights to come in and give some finer points on playwriting for the writers, and we also invite all the writers that we didn't necessarily select their play. So if they're really interested,
Okay,
so
left
Evan
that
came to
part
that.
off, for example. That's why I was just like, okay, wait, because she did kind of go over like they have. So like for example, you have a local mentor, which is Wooz, and then you also have a national mentor. Who was your national mentor?
For this, it was Deborah Harbin, which is somebody Colleen worked with, and she's we've done a couple of her shows for OGP. She actually, her job's playwriting. She works at a college where she teaches theater classes and stuff.
Awesome.
And she works for a theater there, and so I thought she gave some really great notes. So that's a national mentor, and it's a cool thing, and it's different levels, local, national, as far as every depending on what people have going on. But to get for tomorrow night for Jude's show, we had Mark Harvey Levine, who's like the master of the 10-minute play. So for him to be sending notes it's pretty awesome, and it's awesome to have those folks involved and really to have them on our program is just. We're just lucky.
See, I didn't know you guys had that.
Yeah.
So when she told me that she kind of lightly mentioned it. She did go into it, but I didn't know you had other writers who didn't get selected, and I guess was the other one.
We encourage it because we end up picking 10 shows, and then there's always those 4 or 5. It's like, oh man. And then there's some that it's like, oh, there's something there, but it could develop, and it's just a matter of, are they that interested or not? We had one a couple years ago we didn't get in, and I regret it. And I don't think we've gotten anything from her, but it was just the super sci-fi futuristic thing. And some of the folks felt like, well, we couldn't do it justice. And I wish I'd fought for it and been like, no, we can do this because it was great. And so, but we've had people that didn't get in and then they've stayed involved or whatever. And then the next year they get something in.
I wanted to mention Carl. I know he was in it, right? He was in MadLab.
He hates it when we say this, and we don't say it at the Young Writers things anymore, but he was in our first Young Writers program, the first year. Actually, I was in the show he wrote his first year.
Nice.
And then he also acted. So his first year he did the same thing you're doing. So
I was looking through the website, seeing what I could find, because Emily Ewan's big sister actually wrote, and she acted in the Motel Room, so she's really excited for this to be at MadLab. And I was looking through it, and I ran through Carl's, and I was just like, wait, Carl wrote? And I was just looking through it, and I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, he's a wonderful writer. He does multiple shows. He's done at the lab. He's done it.
He's a great mentor, and obviously he's staying involved in theater. And we've been able to keep a connection with him and Corey Reagan, who's a good friend of his, who interned the first year we did Young Writers.
Nice.
And helped us with the sketch show. But actually, they just started their own theater company, Endeavor Theater, which is their first show is going to be at MadLab next month. And they've done some other shows at MadLab. We love getting them back when we can. Their legacies. But yeah, we've been able to keep that attachment to Carl. It's always cool to see where all the young writers go. Obviously, it's great to have Carl back, but hopefully someday he'll be on Broadway. But we have others that I know there's some that I'm friends with on Instagram or whatever, and one of them works for a literary house in New York, and wow. I was in 2 of her shows, so she's supposed to write me a play that I could be in on Broadway, but I'm sure she's working on it. Hopefully, but it's cool that things like that. I mean, I feel like Carl was going to be a writer regardless, but it was awesome that we got him in, and again, he acted as well that year.
I've never seen any of his shows.
Yeah,
I've never I'm sure they're good, but I've never seen I don't know that much about him, but hearing that about him just makes me a little giddy because he's great.
Yeah, I did a reading for one of his. Actually, I've done a reading of a couple of his. And those guys are and actually Corey's he's at OU getting a Master of Fine Arts in Directing. Yeah. So those guys, they're in it. They love it.
So I have to ask, this is for both of you. Mm. So for example, Tay did everything mostly via email. Did you guys did in person and email, text?
I think we just did email, and then we would talk at the readings. Yeah. Okay. I think, when the program first started, they were really big on, let's get together and blah, blah, blah. And it was 2012. And, I know it's not like we've, gone through the space age or anything, but I think it's just easier for people now to communicate, whether it's text or email or whatever. And I think what we've experienced as well is our young writers are busy people. They're busier than we are. They have to go to school all day, and then they're all involved in after school activities, and they're all getting ready. I shouldn't say they're all getting ready. A lot of them are getting ready for college or whatever. So they're very busy. It's just an easier way. And
sure.
And I don't think it's as big a deal to get together. Some folks do. It just depends on how much time they want to get together. And I think some of it's also, and it's funny, some of the mentors really love it if it's a show that needs a lot of work. I didn't think Liam's show did. So, I'm one who doesn't have a problem saying this show's ready to go. I'll be the mentor because I don't have to do as much work. Also because I want that show to get in because I loved it and I love this show. And it was one of those things. And going in, and I'll pull the curtain back even more on our selection committee. The mentors get together. I'm like, all right, I might be the only one that loves this show, but I do. It was number one. Sorry everybody, it was my number one. I told Liam that I read it in the Bahamas while on vacation. Yeah, I read all of them actually there. So, no, this one's... So I was like, I might be the only one. I wonder if I'm the only one. And then Tay actually was one of the others, and then a couple other mentors like, no, I really love this. So, like, it went right up. I'm like, all right, it's in. This is getting in. Because I thought I was going to have to fight everybody for it, and like, this is getting in if I have to kill somebody. And fortunately, I didn't have to do that. So,
yeah.
And Liam was already doing rewrites before I think we even talked. I think you'd already done some more work. So
this is the weird thing. I don't want to ruin the twist. Sure. That's what I'm saying. What has majorly changed? So like
nothing really. The twist hasn't changed.
Yeah, I think just more
more dialogue at the end with like with
developing that relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So like there was more dialogue at the end, a little bit more dialogue at first, but like nothing has changed extremely. Like it's pretty much the same show.
Yeah, and I feel like Liam and I were linked up in that, at the readings you get a lot of different information. You get different ideas, and you have to
assimilate what is the focus of those.
Yeah, and I thought Liam did a good job of taking, that I can use, that it's helpful, but I appreciate it, but it's not really where I'm going with this, and some stuff gets missed in a reading because actors, they're holding scripts and stuff. But I thought he did a good job of picking what was important, what wasn't, and I think that'll be good for you to be in at the rehearsals too, because I think there might be. I think we've got a good director for it, but there might be some spots where you're like, this was what because she might be even like, what were you thinking? What was your thinking here? Because I think there's what I love about the show is there's a lot of stuff that's unsaid.
Yes, very much so.
It's so in between the lines, and I thought, that to me, that's why it's so good and effective, and it feels real. I think
that's why it doesn't feel like it's written by a freshman / sophomore.
Yeah,
I really wanted it to be like as realistic as possible. Like I wanted the lines to be what a real person would say. Like everything would be like something that would actually happen. And I really wanted the dialogue to be like that, and that's why I really wanted to do rewrites to see if like that's what somebody would actually say. And I've acted in a lot of shows in the past. I've never gotten the
humble brag. I've done a lot of shows in the past. Sorry,
about like 4 or 5.
No one's counting except for me. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just giving you crap.
I just wanted to mention that I've acted a lot in the past. This is my first time getting a main role in anything actually at MadLab, and it's not even at Bradley. And like I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Man.
My first role ever, I was a mother who screamed about her uterus. Like twice, actually. For the first time was scripted, the second wasn't. Nobody knew it was coming. I just decided to say it on the spot. And it was fun.
I mean, there are other questions there.
Yeah, now I want to see that show.
Yeah, I want to see that show.
Actually, no. It was in MadLab.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, it was what was it? It was about this girl in college applications.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I knew what it was called.
Was it... I want to call it The Void.
The Void.
Yeah.
I was in The Void.
Oh, really?
I was the mother.
Did they do it at Hilliard?
Yeah, they had. No, the writer was from Bradley.
Oh, okay.
And she submitted it.
Oh, yeah.
I screamed about my uterus. And it was,
I don't remember that being in the final version.
Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe it was.
But maybe it was.
The mom, Emily Turner did come in as the mom.
She did, but I don't remember anyone screaming the uterus.
Well, it was like so small. It was like, how dare you disrespect the uterus that brought you into this world? Okay. And then like when they were like tearing me out of like the office, I was just like, she came out of my uterus, not yours, and like I was just screaming it, and it was so much.
Uterus! I find that to be so funny.
And like people loved it. People thought I was like one of the funniest characters in like the whole entire short play festival. And like I just wanted to do more comedic roles. I was in Shakespeare in Hollywood. I wasn't a big character, but I wiggled. I tried to wiggle as much as possible. I played Hot Dog Man in Inherit the Wind.
Yeah, you were telling me that, so that was another short.
It's my favorite role.
And you were the hot dog, the Tyler hot dog in the wind? No.
No, I was just a hot dog man. Like, I just sold hot dogs. But, like, the funny thing is that people, like, when they were seeing, because nobody really liked Inherit the Wind. Like, no offense to, like, Carl and Rachel, but, like, a lot of the people who were seeing it didn't want to be there because, like, it was for school. Like, it was performed for school. So when I just walked in yelling about hot dogs, people just started laughing. Like, people thought I was the most iconic. Like, people just went up to me and said, wow, great job, Liam. You did great. And I was just like, thanks. So that's why I love it so much, is because, like, you can make, even out of the darkest things, you can always find some comedy out of it.
Well, it's very real. Those funny things are usually it's triggering from something real that everyone has experienced, which is, so even in the darkness, there's that little bit of, oh, well, yeah, it's happened to me before. And it's kind of funny. Or it's just so awkward, that's why it's funny.
And my character had 4 lines, but it was great. Like, people said, like, oh yeah, Hot Dog Man, like, nobody else could play Hot Dog Man. You're the, like, people just thought I was great at just doing that. And, like, it was nothing big, but I just felt happy that I was a comedic character because I love playing that.
So can you sing?
No, I cannot sing.
Okay, because I mean, you could really ham it up in a musical too. That was my train of thought. Not to say that you can in a play either, because you totally can. But I'm just saying, like, especially in musical theater, but
I'm practicing, but like, I'm not in choir, and I really wish I did join choir. It's really in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, everybody's doing all this fun stuff. I wish I was in musicals. We did Addams Family. And, like, I wasn't in it, but I really wanted to act in it. But you can't act in musicals because, like, they want you to be able to sing. Yeah, like, that's how, because, like, it's...
You could maybe do the Music Man. You could maybe, if you don't feel comfortable singing, because the Music Man is more sing-song, and Robert Preston, God love him, who originated the role, like, they wrote the role for him. He can sing very bass level. So literally, if matter of fact, so like the song you hear in Family Guy, Shapoopy, that is from someone else that's not Robert Preston. That's from Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett,
yeah. But literally, it's like it's all sing song. So it's like it's capital T that rhymes with P and it stands for pool. Well, it's all just sing song.
Yeah, it's kind of spoken.
Do you ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Do you ever seen Monorail?
I don't know.
It's an old one. It's written by Conan O'Brien of all people, because he's a huge musical nerd. And literally, it's literally the one guy Phil Hartman plays, the salesman, comes to town and sells. And it's like, oh, you won't want to hear this. It's a Shelbyville idea. Shelbyville, tell me more. Well, you got trouble, my friend. You got trouble right here in River City. He pretty much does the same exact cadence, and then it ends with them buying a monorail from this huckster. And of course, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. There's a lot of great lines I don't think people know that come from, like there's one line that Homer says, like, I'll call it the big one Bitey. Is like he opens up the monorail because it's so out of shape, and there's like a mongoose or something hanging there. It's such a weird line. But no, so you should look into it. Always try. I love musicals. I can kind of sing, but at the same time I kind of get it, like, you know. But so so with that said, what comedy role that's in a play would you love to play?
Man, there's so many. Mm-hmm. I don't watch that many shows because I've only started acting over a year ago. But I only really started getting into it this year. So there isn't a lot of plays that I know of that are really comedic. Mm-hmm. But I know there's this play where it's called Everything Goes Wrong. Have you heard of that?
I think I have.
Yeah. Somebody said I would be great in that. And then there was like this character that somebody said I would be great as a butler in. I forget what it's called. We're doing it for Bradley. It's the importance of being earnest.
Okay. I feel like that's a drama. Well, no, because the point of being, isn't it like based after?
Oh, the importance of being earnest. Oh, yeah, that's comedy. Yeah.
It is a comedy?
Yeah.
Somebody said it would be great as the butler in that. I don't know why.
I think I need to rewatch that because I did not think of it as a comedy. Well, I also watched it
in high
when I was
school.
young.
We did it. That's the only way I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it by Jane Austen? Important to be noticed? Or was it based after something?
No, it's...
Well, see, I'm thinking it was a Jane Austen drama or something like that.
I feel like there's someone called Algernon in it.
That's a great...
Oscar Wilde. It's an Oscar Wilde.
Okay, so it's a Victorian... No, Jane Austen's before Oscar Wilde, though, isn't she?
Premiered in February 1895.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Valentine's Day, 1895, at the St. James Theatre in London. It is the satire of Victorian ways. So
Valentine's Day. Bummer.
There was a play I've always wanted to act in, but I know we're never going to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's called The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime. I really want to play, I forget his name. I watched it at state conference, and it's about a boy with autism, and it's based off his life and his imagination. And, I know we're never going to do it because, there's only one main character, and, all the other people that are behind it are just...
Are they interchangeable in the roles? There's 4 other people and they all play...
Yeah. I think Curtain
roles.
Players just did it recently, and I think somebody else is going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember who. But.
It's not a lot. It's not... it's very small. I don't think Bradley would ever do it. But I really feel like I could play that character well. And I just know we're not doing it. And it kind of makes me sad. We're doing Bright Star for Bradley.
So I have to ask, because what I'm hearing now too is a little bit juxtaposition of what you're actually writing. And that's fine. You can have those juxtapositions. And what I mean by that is you've written a very adult, and even your next project about your brother in real life, taking him out of the facility and having a day. That's ripe for some comedy, but it's also very ripe for very real, very serious conversation. A very, again, subtle things not being said that are going to that. At least that's how I'm viewing it already. And I could be very wrong, and that's fine because that's not how you want to go with it, but. To me, though, it sounds serious, but then you also have a love for comedy. Do you want to write comedy?
I don't know if I would be... I actually wrote a comedic murder mystery that we're not going to talk about because it was...
Fair enough.
Because, it was a play about how it didn't make sense. That was the plot. It didn't make sense. The murder mystery... Nothing was right. Nothing made sense. Why is this going on? There was this detective who just knew he was in a play, and he was just out of it, and he didn't know what was going on. Everything was weird, and all these characters were just changing their identity, or writer, I mentioned writer's block, but then it never really went anywhere. And a lot of people had a lot to criticize about it. So I kind of just stopped writing it.
Well, okay, and just to ask that. What's your, I don't want to say support structure, but so when you get critiques from people, is it just people in the Bradley Drama Club or group?
It was my friends who critiqued me.
Fair enough. But I'm just saying, so even but in general, when you write everything, do you pass it off to them first? Do you pass it off to maybe one of your parents or your older brother as well? What's the group that you send all first drafts to? My
friends. My parents aren't theater people, so they would be like, oh, cool. The Motel Room, they actually didn't really know much about it other than I wrote it. And it was going to be here. And, they saw it at Bradley, and they're just like, oh, cool. Did you base any of that off me? And, I was just like, no, you're great parents.
That's the only the awkward part when you write something, and it's are you trying to say something about me? Sorry. Continue. No, that's, I never thought of that until just now. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Well, because parents, they need validation every once in a while, and so, but they have no idea if they're basing that or anything. Okay, so you send it out to your friends, though, and that's where it stops. Is there anyone else, do you give it off to, I know you said you weren't close to them with your teacher, or do you do anything like that as well, or is that, it gets further along and then you give it to them?
Carl, I actually gave it to him when it was done. I had an other director that I actually gave it to first, because last year I had Mary Randall as a director. Do you know Mary? Mm-hmm. No, she left this year, but I gave it to her, my first draft, and she really liked it. And then when Carl became my director, he read it, like in the works, and then he told me to submit it to MadLab, and then like we're here.
I want to thank you so much for taking time today. Sorry I kept you a little bit longer than expected, but Young Writers, it is in July, not June like I said. It's during the last one. For more information, you can get tickets, see who all the cast is, who all the writers are. Go to madlab.net. And is there anything else you want to plug right before we end?
Okay, see The Twins. I'm in that. I play a comedic character. I play Ulz. I scream a lot, yell a lot, and yell about ice cream. So that would be great.
And folks, the most important thing we just learned is who doesn't love ice cream?
Get out of here without cheese! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time until you showed up, cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something! Because I'll tell you something! This is a happy place!